Hello, good evening. My name is Nick Dutch, and I'm an experimental occultist. For many years I've been performing occult experiments to try and ascertain certain things about the way in which the world appears to work. None of the experiments have actually been totally conclusive because essentially taking into account the phenomenon in question, it cannot be totally conclusive. But once in a while one can get some forms of strange experiences which can lead one to essentially ask questions about the way in which the world works. Most of my experiments have been down to spiritualistic driven phenomena, namely an attempt to experience something which appears to be supernatural, such as the contact of a spiritual entity, such as the apparent spirits of a person who is deceased. Some of you may have already seen my invocation of Edgar Allan Poe, for instance, and seen how that works using a Ouija board system. My personal opinion on the subject is that the Ouija board is quite good for some forms of experimentation, but a dark mirror would in fact be more advanced. But for the purposes of a video like this one, you yourself, the audience so to speak, gets much more feedback when I'm actually using the Ouija board rather than when I'm doing a dark mirror experimentation. So I'm going to do another Ouija board seance tonight. I'm pretty sure that the phenomenon in question operates through the same kinds of mechanism with the Ouija board as well as with the dark mirror, namely something which appears in the mind, whether it's coming from an outside source or an inside source we can't ever fully say, has the effect of creating something which can be sensed. Whether it is through the ideomotor effects, making the fingers move, or whether it is a desire in the mind which is creating a hallucination which is appearing in the dark mirror. But today I'm going to do another Ouija board experiment. One of the many reasons for this is that out of all the videos that I've done, it's been the Ouija board experiments which have been most heavily requested. So I'm doing this just for yourself. But I'm not doing this to contact the spirits of a deceased person. There is this hypothesis amongst occultists that it's actually quite reliable to be able to contact a spirit of something which has never existed, namely a spirit of something which is fictitious, or a character who has never existed in history. Some people believe that the universe is so complex and so full of different forms of spiritual energy that when you do try and contact the spirit of something which doesn't exist, what you're doing is you're taking from the ether things which are representative of that personality, and it then becomes, during the time when you're doing that particular ritual or that particular seance, a spirit in its own right. So what I thought I'd do today is, wait for it, an invocation of the monster from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Now, we all know that this is a fictitious character that was dreamed up by Mary Shelley. But wow, if we could actually try and generate the experiments and see whether we could get a result, wouldn't it be interesting to see whether the monster would actually speak to us through the Ouija board? Now, some occultists think that if a being has been fortified within the consciousness of mankind, either through storytelling or religion, then that being becomes created in the astral world and then starts to be able to manifest its power through seances. Now, most of us have heard of Frankenstein's monster. Many of us have seen cultural references to it in comedy shows such as The Monsters, for instance. So this is a character that is heavily within our consciousness. We don't believe in it like we would believe in a spirit, but we have followed its story quite a lot, and most of us have got an impression in our own minds as to what this particular being might be like, possibly covered in scars, maybe having one arm longer or shorter than the other, the limbs not matching, the face possibly bleeding where some of the stitching has not been fully completed, maybe the eyes are different colours, maybe it's partially alive and partially decomposing. We can't really say now, can we? But let's just imagine for a moment, just for a moment, that this being does exist. Now what I'll do is I'll do a period of meditation, and then I'll sit myself down beside the Ouija board and we'll see if we can contact the spirit of the monster from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I think this is going to be most interesting and possibly very rewarding. Is there anybody there? Spirit of the monster, your presence. Is there anybody there? Yes. Spirits, can I ask you to identify yourself? L. O. S. T. Lost. You don't know where you are. Is that right? You don't know where you are. No. So you know where you are. May I ask you why you said you were lost? M. I. N. D. H. A. Minds have. B. Minds have. I don't understand you, monster. What are you saying? You are. Minds have birth. O, four. Monster, I understand what the word mind means. H-A-B-O 4. I don't know what that means. Are you feeling okay? No. If there was anything that you could say to me today, what would it be? D O A DOA, as in dead on arrival. Yes. I know that there were many people who made up the bodies of who made up your body. Am I speaking to one person or am I speaking to many? M A N Y. Many. Are you struggling with the fact there are so many people inside you? Yes. But at the start of the seance you said that you were lost. If that was what, if I remember correctly. Is that an expression of not knowing who you are or what you are? Yes. That is sad. I don't know how I can help you. D O N T. Don't. You don't want me to help you. B O T H E R. Don't bother. If I did try and help you, what would happen? D. O. Okay, I think I get the message. N E V R. Never. F. R. E. Never free. I'm going to call this to a close. Thank you very much for taking time with me today. God bless. Okay, well, I'll tell you the truth, that was one of the strangest ones I've done. And the sensations for myself was peculiar. There was a feeling of a presence. The planchette moved more freely across the board and felt much easier to handle. We had some very interesting random messages coming out, and also a bit of an expression of some kind of pain that the creature or creatures seems to be in. It explained itself more or less as if it was a conglomeration of different consciousnesses all trying to compete, and as such it must have been quite a difficult life or existence to live in. It was a very strange experience. It's almost as if this entity was outpouring its soul about the feeling of confusion that it felt through being many different people at the same time, and not really having some kind of consistency of identity or thoughts or feelings, which I seriously had not expected to come through. I thought that there would be more like references to the popular culture, more references to the love story aspect, but it's rather strange. Maybe that word at the beginning, lost, was somehow connected to the way it felt rather than where it was. So it was definitely peculiar. Now, as is traditional, we can never ever ever say, no matter what experiences we have, whether any form of ghost or spirit or spectre or life after death has any real objective existence. But the experiments or experiences that we can generate certainly are interesting, and I would really, encourage people to objectively, rationally and skeptically explore different forms of occult activity, because it can really make you to think, it can really make you question something about yourself or your preconceptions. And I really didn't think that the things which came out today would actually come out. It was amazing. So I had a wonderful time. Hope you've enjoyed it. This has been Nick Dutch, and I'll speak to you again very soon. God bless.